How much income do you need in retirement? Let's dive into that here tonight, will we? Shall we? This is from my a blog post I did this morning, December 14th, 2019, which I put on my website. Sorry about the noise back there. It's just old Pablo having fun. What's up, buddy? What's up? Oh, he ran out to the other room. All right, so this is a heritage. So if you go to heritagewealthplanning.com, just go to my homepage here, and this right here is permanent. This right here is permanent, but all these things, I'll probably change these videos out here a little bit, but all these things down here, that's my running blog post, if you will. So you go to heritagewealthplanning.com and you'll see these running blog posts. And yeah, I do, it's got December 13th, December 12th, December 14th, December 14th. Yeah, okay. So I post stuff on occasion, a couple times a week. I'll post stuff, sometimes more than a couple times a week. But you'll see my live blog posts and whatnot. So anyway, that doesn't look like that's weird. That's September 3rd. So I don't know. That's strange how that worked right there. I'm not sure why it jumps back for December 30th. Either way, that's where you keep my running tally of my blog posts there. So just look at that every now and again, and you'll find my most recent one is December 14th, 2019. How much income do you need in retirement? This will not be for the faint of heart, my friends. This is going to be a red pill event, shall we say, for you of the retirement fear-mongering school. We're gonna cut you off at the knees here for sure. So let's go into it. You hear all the time you need 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income when you retire. The doomsayers at the National Institute for Retirement Research actually claim that Americans need more than 80% of pre-retirement income, and thus, of course, they don't have enough assets to retire. In an article titled, "New Report Finds Nation's Retirement Crisis Persist Despite Economic Recovery." I don't grant that right there, that there is a retirement crisis to begin with. And then, so to say it finds it persists would have to grant that there is one to begin with. And the whole premise I take issue with. But anyway, they say to maintain their standard of living in retirement, the typical working American needs to replace roughly 85% of pre-retirement income. Here's another example of their fair-minded approach to analyzing the retirement situation to warn us of pending doom. Doom, I tell you. They have an article, "Retirement in America. Out of reach for most Americans?" Let's see how they got that question mark right there. That's stating it like we don't know, we're just asking, but they're actually stating it the way they're premising the headline. Then we have Aon Hewitt claiming, Aon Hewitt's Real Deal project reduces expected consumption for work-related expenditures, savings, and taxes, and increases healthcare expenditures to arrive at their estimates that retirees will need to replace about 85% of average pre-retirement income. See what they're doing? They're reducing expenditures, savings, taxes, but they increase their healthcare expenditures to say you need $85,000 of pre-retirement income. So both Aon Hewitt and the National Institute for Retirement Security are arguing in favor of not a 70% retirement replacement rate, not an 80% even, but rather an 85% replacement rate. Weird, no? Until I came across these fine groups, I had not one time heard in my 25 years almost of experience as a professional financial planner anyone use the 85% replacement ratio number. Not one time. Good boy. Oh, Pablo. See, just look at that. Yeah. Again, weird. Retirement propaganda is what it is, my friends. So before we destroy their claims of 85% pre-retirement income need, let's take a look at what incentives these groups have to spread the fear. Just a quick tour of the front page of the website, and we can find out the National Institute for Retirement Security is paid for by hook, line, and sinker by the pension providers throughout the U.S. Oh, wait, looky here. Aon Hewitt is also a sponsor. You got CalSTRS, CalPERS, AARP, the list goes on. The pension providers sponsor these guys. They're leaders in retirement. It's just the whole thing. It's corrupt. Remember, 401k plans essentially replace pensions. As such, it's a huge incentive for pension providers to advocate that pensions work better in retirement security, whereas 401k plans are fraught with risk and could lead retirees to poverty. Well, so they say. So these are pension providers. They don't like 401ks because they're being kept out of the loop. And so what they do instead is they say we need more pensions, less 401ks. Neat how this works, huh? But let's not let Aon Hewitt off so easily. Let's dive a bit into their business model. And when we go to DuckDuckGo, because remember, Google manipulates the search engine results page, we find that Aon Hewitt is a provider of human capital and management consulting services headquartered in the United States in Lincolnshire, Illinois. From 500 offices in 120 countries, it provides consulting, outsources, and reinsurance brokerage services. Interesting. They're a subsidiary of Aon Corp. Human resource consulting. No big deal there, one might suspect. Reinsurance is interesting, though. But one need to read that Aon Hewitt is a subsidy of Aon Corporation to see where the dots connect. And what's Aon Corporation's line of work? Risk, reinsurance, retirement, health, data, and analytics. Aon, AON on the New York Stock Exchange, is a leading global professional service firm providing a broad range of risk, reinsurance, retirement, and health services. Yep. Makes sense now. Aon, a global company, gets profits from being knee-deep in the retirement industry. And what better way to increase those profits than by funding groups of scaremongers to perpetuate the retirement crisis myth so that politicians will act by providing more taxpayer money. In fact, so there's Aon, the subsidized Aon Hewitt, and Aon Hewitt contributes as a visionary member to the National Institute of Retirement Research, Retirement Security, who publishes bogus hit pieces that there's a retirement crisis. Retirement crisis is a Wall Street invention. Don't take my word for it. Here is Kevin Drum of the far-left Mother Jones magazine stating the exact same thing. The crisis, as near I can tell, says Kevin, is mostly an invention of Wall Street firms, which churn an endless supply of studies with scary headlines, but not much in the way of facts on the inside. That's the emphasis of mine, where this whole thing is. I emphasized that they turn out. I highlighted and bolded that from the article, but I couldn't agree more. It's an invention of the Wall Street firms. I couldn't agree more. The proof is right in front of you. Aon is a Wall Street firm. A 3-letter ticker symbol means it trades on the New York Stock Exchange, the bluest of the blue chips. They have a subsidiary in Aon Hewitt, which, along with many other self-interested businesses, fund academically sounding, supposed nonpartisan think tanks, such as the National Institute for Retirement Security, to promote propaganda to scare people. Scared voters look to politicians to solve the crisis that's making them scared, and the politicians then provide resources to the exact fear-mongering groups to fix things. Crazy how this works, but think about it. Why else would a group such as the National Institute for Retirement Security have their headquarters right here, 1612 K Street in Washington, D.C., with a 202 area code? D.C. lobbyists on the prowl for your money. That land ain't cheap there at K Street in Washington, D.C. K Street is notorious for a lobbyist row. In fact, lo and behold, these people magically find themselves literally a block away from the White House. There's Lafayette Square, there's the White House, there's the South Lawn, and there is right here, this block, and there's Farragut Square, and there's a metro stop right there for Farragut Square, Farragut North. I remember going off that. I think it's on the Red Line when I lived in Silver Spring. And there you go, right there. That's where the NIRS is right there. You just take a right, and you're right here in the White House. You can see the White House right there, a block away. Isn't that interesting? Huh? Why would they put themselves that close in K Street to the White House? Interesting. What is the way to find the salaries of these people? Ironic, isn't it? They just magically show up right next to the White House in a very, very primo price land. Certainly the good folks at the National Institute for Retirement Security is headquartered in D.C. First priority is the financial health of Americans living in places like Topeka, Kansas, isn't it? Well, if you believe that, my friends, let me introduce you to my friend George Strait, because he sells oceanfront property in Arizona at deep, deep discounts. Good boy. A real-life retirement income replacement rate. All right, so we can safely discard anything the doomsdayers claim. Now, in fact, it's funny. I was reading St. Augustine. Maddie was just showing me a quote from St. Augustine, who was saying basically at the end of the day, the believers, and remember, St. Augustine was back in the mid-300s, were horrible for the church, because basically if they came across as ignorant fools and they said, well, I get my knowledge from Scripture, then the people who don't believe will inherently think Scripture is ignorant because it leads to people who follow that to be ignorant fools, if that makes sense. So what happens is if you're an ignorant fool and you're saying, and people don't believe you to begin with, and then you say, well, I get my info from this line of work, then they're going to doubt that line of work because it gave people like you as an ignorant fool. They're going to say, I don't believe what you said. And if you're saying you got your info from that source, I don't believe that source. That's the same thing here. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's the same thing with the National Institute for Retirement Research, Retirement Security. We can see what's going on. Why would they be in K Street, right next to the White House? Nuts. All right, so we can discard anything they say because we know it's just propaganda. So let's look at this. How much would you actually need as a retirement replacement rate? Well, Ron writes in, and who follows my YouTube channel, and he has his own spreadsheet about the income he had before retirement and the income he needs once he retired. And let's take a look. It's incredibly informative. So here's Ron's salary, Pablo, $122,000. Pablo. Hold on a second. So here's Ron. He had $122,000 a year salary while he was working. He contributed $18,300 to his 401k, it's 15%, which he had a taxable salary of $103,000. He had $7,933 to FICA, and that's just 7.65, his part of it. He had $14,500 in taxes. He had $7,200, a $600 a month employee portion of his health insurance, and he had net after all that about $74,000. He had a house payment of $14,400, a car payment of $4,800, and he tithed at 10%. So his net after taxes, tithing, debt, and all that is $42,648. Or as you can clearly see, while Ron is working, he's living on around $4,200 a year, or basically $3,500 a month, after 401k, healthcare contributions, taxes, and debt payments. Fast forward to once he retires. Now he's got $29,000 Social Security. He's using the 4% rule to his asset base. His total salary is $51,000. He no longer has a 401k. He no longer has FICA. He has minimal state income tax, about $2,000. Health insurance is about $270 a month for he and his spouse. He's got 0% deductible premium for his Medicare Advantage plan, so it's cost him. I would probably round it up to say $4,000 or so. Either way, it's going to be the same thing. After health insurance and taxes, he has $4,500 a year, but then he tithes, all right, based on his combined Social Security. So he's tithing basically $2,900. So after tithing and everything, the net is $42,860, which is actually a little bit more than what it was before. With debts paid, which of course should be paid off because that's the number one priority, Ron is still living on $3,500 a month, just like he was previous to retiring, even though his gross income dropped from $122 to $51K. Of course, I'd argue that $35K a month will also drop as he ages too, because the evidence is overwhelming in that regard. But either way, $3,500 a month is what he was netting while working, and $3,500 a month is what he's netting now that he's retired. Yet the good folks in the financial, academic, and media would have us believe that Ron needs 85% of his $122,000 salary while working to successfully retire, which would equate to $103,000 a year gross he would need. Well, if we subtract Social Security of $29,000 from the $103,000 the doomsdayers say he needs, that leaves us about $74,000 a year he needs, which will have to come from his $550,000 portfolio. That's a 13.5 distribution rate, which of course would exhaust the portfolio in less than a decade. No wonder there is a retirement crisis with that kind of thing. No wonder people need millions, I tell you, in order to retire. But old Ron, just a regular American Joe, who even tithes still. How quaint that is, right? I bet Ron drives a beat-up Ford F-150. And he thinks there are only two genders. He's a relic of past generations, isn't he? But Ron, caveman though he is, has proved what all the academics and lobbyists on K Street deny, that you don't need 85% of your pre-retirement income. In this case, Ron needs all of 42%, which reminds me of something. Oh, what could it be? The Essential Retirement Guide, a contrarian's perspective by a real-life actuary who crunches the numbers for pension plans, Frederick Vettese, which I talk about in this link here. So spread the good news, folks. I appoint you as sheriff deputies to tell people to pay no mind to the doomsdayers. I appoint you to do that. Spread the word, the good cheer, actually, to all who will listen. Now remember, many people do not want to hear the good news. They want to wallow in fear. Weird how a great man knew that would happen and warned us about it. So the ministry of the 12. Do not go on to the road of the Gentiles or enter any town of the Samaritans. Go rather to the lost sheep of Israel. As you go, preach this message. The kingdom of heaven is near. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, drive out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. Freely you have received, freely give. Do not carry any gold or silver or copper in your belts. Take no bag for the road or second tunic or sandals or staff, for the worker is worthy of his provisions. Whatever town or village you enter, find out who is worthy there and stay at his house until you move on. As you enter this house, greet its occupants. If the home is worthy, you'll let your peace rest on it, and if it's not, let your peace return to you. And if anyone will not welcome you or heed your words, shake the dust off your feet when you leave that home or town. That's what Jesus said. The people who will not believe or not listen or not hear. Shake the dust off your feet when you leave. Truly, I tell you, it will be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment for that town. And the same thing in retirement, because they'll always be miserable. They'll always be living in fear and a scarcity mindset. And they don't need to be. Let me repeat the glorious words of that son of a Jewish carpenter from a little town called Nazareth. And if anyone will not welcome you or heed your words, shake the dust off your feet when you leave that town. Remember, you can only bring the truth. You cannot enforce people to hear it, never mind believe it. But that same great man also said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And shall it so, my friends, and shall it so. Anyway, so blessings to you all. There is no retirement crisis. It's all perpetrated by these Wall Street titans of the industry living in D.C., a block away from the White House. Always remember that. They don't care about you. They want more taxes. And the way they get more taxes for you to work longer, pay taxes, put more money away into various investment accounts, have the taxpayers fund their various pet peeves, pet projects through the government. Don't listen to them. All right, we'll see you. I had to look at some of the people that work at the NIRS, and to my shock, let's take a gander, shall we? In March 2019, Dan Doonan was named executive director. All right, so let's see. He's been 20 years experience. He began his career at the Department of Labor. All right, so he spent 7 years performing actual analysis at Buck Consultants in the retirement practice. Okay, so I don't have any problem with that. That's kind of what my man Frederick Vitizzi did. But he started in the government and basically essentially has lived. I can almost guarantee you he's been a DC. A swamp dweller. There's no other way around that. And look, I'm sorry that sounds like that, but that's the truth. These people rely on the government to provide their funding. But then he came to NIRS as serving as senior pension specialist with the NEA. Oh, that bipartisan, nonpartisan think tank, the National Education Association. That's the teachers' unions. You do not want to know how bad left the NEA is if you're ignorant about it. Trust me, it will make you furious. It'll make you insane about how left-wing the NEA is. And then you can wonder, are your teachers part of that horrifically left-wing Marxist group? Because they're bad. They're bad. The NEA. I'm not saying the members are. That's one of the benefits of what was the landmark ruling Supreme Court that you're not forced to join a labor union. And so the NEA has lost teachers like you would not believe. In Wisconsin is wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. Oddly, that he left the NEA in 2019. I wonder why. Is the NEA having restructuring because they're not getting forced labor contributions? Interesting. But then we look at Tyler Bond, and he also joined in 2019. Weird, interesting. He previously directed research programs for the National Public Pension Coalition and the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, that nonpartisan, bipartisan think tank. No, far left, these guys. Again, he got it's swamp dwellers. I have no idea who this lady is. Let's see who she is. Oh, she came to the NRA in 2019 too, after working in the office of Senator Sherrod Brown, a big lib in Ohio. I don't know how he won re-election, but there you go. And she worked, so she's a political, swamp dweller. She worked for Congressman Ryan, worked for Brown. Literally, has she had any real-world experience? No, come on, man. And she has a major in journalism and a minor in political science. So these guys, minor in political science, this guy has political science philosophy. At least he has a BA in mathematics, is a BA in math, or BS, so thankfully for that. Communication advisor. She worked on she came on 2007. At least she's been there for a while. Thank the good Lord. Public, all been in D.C., White House fellowships, America. All right, so she's been a lobbyist concern of some sort, public affairs, communication positions with Edelman Public Relations, American Nuclear Energy Council, MCI WorldCom. Oh boy, Micron Electrics. All right, so there you go. So that's their directors. That's their people who run the thing. There you go. Let's take a look at Academic Advisory Board, shall we? Let's see what we got. Teresa Giraldeldi, whatever the hell her name is there. She's everywhere. If there's a left-wing thing, she will be on it. There she is, the new school. Yeah. Jeez Louise, man. There's got to be Economic Policy Institute in here someplace. I see Economic Policy Analysis. There's got to be, let's see, Alicia Manel. See, oh, so there you go. Alicia Manel is a lefty. I don't know what else. That's sad. That bothers me because you see Teresa Gilderd, whatever her name is, and then you're going to see Alicia not far behind through the BC. The whole thing is just one. Look at that, man. It's like they all part of the swamp. It's crazy. Oh my goodness, it's crazy how these guys all scratch each other's back, all at the government teat. When Alicia gets funding from the Center for Retirement Research at BC, from the government, from the SSA, we know that for a fact. National Council of Aging, where they get the funding, this is insane. I don't know any of these other people. I'm sure we could quickly find out, but I'd rather not. I'm surprised no one from the Economic Policy Institute. Okay, so there we go. Let's take a look. We did people. Did we do board of directors yet? I can't remember. Let's see. Board of directors. Texas Teachers Retirement System, State of Illinois. Hey, we got someone from the Aon Hewitt Investment Consulting, National Conference of Public Employee Retirement Systems, CalPERS, NEA. There we go. Michael Harrison on the NEA, ARP, all left-wing people, man. It's let's look at career. I just want to see if they have some rabble rouser internists that they're looking for. Someone can press our issues about. All right, retirement secretary. Okay. So these guys are all just left wing hacks. No other way around that. All right. Well, there you go, my friends. Jeez, you just can't. Located in DC, organizations of diverse membership, diversity and inclusion. I can't take it. So their members include financial services firms, other retirement services providers, trade associations, managed retirement plan. All right, the whole thing's corrupt. All right. Can't trust them, my friends. Can't trust them. I will see you.